Hey everyone, welcome back to AI.DivineInsights. Today, we're going deep, like really deep. All right, diving right in, we're looking at Acts 25 today.
Oh yeah, Paul's in a real predicament here.
He is. We saw him in those earlier chapters.
Yeah, working through.
Yeah, working through the book of Acts.
Yeah.
And this is where it takes kind of a turn, right?
It does, yeah.
Feels like a legal thriller.
Right, almost.
Little cloak and dagger.
Yeah, definitely. There's some intrigue going on.
And we've got excerpts from Acts 25, NKJV. Paul appeals to Caesar from Bible Gateway. So,
Okay. Yeah, good stuff in there.
yeah, there's a lot to unpack.
Lots to dig into. So
Yeah.
right away, we've got Festus,
Right. New guy on the scene.
new Roman governor,
Yep, in Judea.
and he's barely stepped foot in the province.
I mean, he's got to be completely overwhelmed.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
New job, new place, new...
Right, and boom,
Exactly. The Jewish leaders are like, hey, we need Paul in Jerusalem for trial.
like right away, front and center issue.
Yeah, and on the surface, it seems, reasonable.
You'd think, right?
But there's something.
A little more to it.
Yeah, there's this underlying tension, right?
There is. I mean, think about it from their perspective.
Yeah.
Paul's message.
Oh, totally disruptive.
It was. And for some of these leaders,
Threaten their whole system.
oh yeah, their authority, their traditions.
Yeah,
So there's this, I don't know if it's explicitly stated, but you get the sense
you get the feeling, right?
that this isn't just about a trial.
Yeah.
This is about eliminating Paul.
Like getting rid of the problem.
Exactly.
So here's Festus.
Brand new governor.
Yeah, totally green.
And he's walking into
This hornet's nest.
yeah, political pressure, potential for violence. I mean,
It's like a powder keg.
what's he going to do?
What does he do?
He keeps Paul in Caesarea,
Okay, so,
which I think probably surprised a lot of people.
I mean, that's a bold move.
It is bold, especially for someone new to the job.
Yeah, and you have to think the Jewish leaders are not happy about it.
Oh, no, definitely not.
So, what's the significance of this decision? I mean, is it just like a power play?
Well, on one level, it shows that he's trying to uphold Roman law and order.
Right. He's not just going to cave.
Exactly. He wants a fair trial, at least that's what it seems like.
So it's not just like giving in to the loudest voices.
No, it's more nuanced than that.
Yeah, it's got to be tough, right? Balancing those Roman ideals
All right.
with the realities on the ground.
Yes. And, keeping the peace in a province like Judea.
Yeah, it's not an easy job.
No, not at all.
So the trial happens in Caesarea,
It does.
and I mean, we don't get a blow-by-blow account,
We
but
get the gist.
yeah. And it seems like the Jewish leaders,
They're struggling to, make their case.
like, they don't have the evidence they need.
They just can't seem to nail anything down on him.
Yeah, and this is where we see Paul, like, really in his element.
He's sharp, he's articulate,
Knows a law.
inside and out, and he's confident,
No,
right?
totally. He's like, look, I haven't broken any laws, Jewish or Roman.
And he makes sure to emphasize that whole no offense against Caesar thing.
Right, because that's the big one.
Oh, yeah, that's the one you definitely don't want to mess with.
Yeah, you don't want that charge sticking.
Not at all. So he's basically saying, look, I'm innocent, and you have no reason to hand me over.
Smart move. I mean, he's using the system to his advantage.
Oh, absolutely. He knows his rights. He knows the law.
He's not just a passive bystander in all of this.
No, he's actively engaged.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder what Festus is thinking at this point.
He's got to be processing a lot.
Because, despite the lack of evidence, he still seems tempted to appease those Jewish leaders.
Right. And he even proposes sending Paul back to Jerusalem.
Which seems incredibly risky, right?
Oh, yeah. Especially given all that we've talked about, the potential for an ambush. I mean,
It makes you wonder if Festus was just trying to avoid conflict.
maybe he didn't fully grasp the gravity of the situation.
Right, like, okay, just get this off my plate, send him back.
Yeah, possibly.
But that could have been a fatal decision for Paul.
Oh, absolutely. Things could have gone very differently.
But Paul, being Paul, he's not just going to sit back and let that happen.
No way.
He takes matters into his own hands, right?
He does. And he appeals directly to Caesar.
Wow, what a move.
It's a big deal.
It is. I mean, this isn't just a legal maneuver, it's a statement,
It is. He's asserting his rights as a Roman citizen.
He's like, okay, if I'm not getting a fair shake here.
Exactly. I'm going to the top.
And it forces the case to be heard at the highest level.
Yeah, no more local courts. This is going to Rome.
Right, which is a risky move, but also potentially a brilliant one.
It is. And think about it.
Yeah.
Appealing to Caesar. It buys Paul time.
Okay.
Gets him out of Judea.
Away from immediate danger.
Exactly.
Okay.
And who knows, maybe this trip to Rome could open up new possibilities, opportunities to share his message in the heart of the empire.
At a whole new mission field.
Right. So even though he's a prisoner, in a sense, he's taking control of the situation.
Yeah, and it takes the decision out of Festus's hands.
Which, who knows, maybe that was part of the plan all along.
But before Paul sets sail for Rome, there's another twist.
There is. Another important figure enters the picture.
King Agrippa.
The king himself.
He's appointed by Rome, right.
He is, to rule over some of the Jewish territories.
So he's got like this dual perspective going on.
Yeah. Familiar with Jewish customs, but also has to operate within the Roman system.
It's a unique position, that's for sure.
It is. So Agrippa visits Festus.
Okay.
And he's intrigued by this whole Paul situation.
You know, I can't blame him. It's quite a story.
It is. So he requests to hear Paul speak.
Now, this is where things get really interesting.
Oh, yeah. A whole new dynamic is about to unfold.
Yeah, because for Festus, this is a chance to get another perspective, maybe some guidance on how to proceed.
Yeah. He's still grappling with it all, right?
Exactly.
Trying to make sense of Paul, the accusations, his faith, all of it.
It's a lot for anyone to handle.
And Agrippa, with his understanding of Jewish law and Roman politics, he's the perfect person to consult.
It's like the perfect sounding board.
Exactly.
All right, well, we'll leave it there for now. I can't wait to dive into what happens when Paul gets his chance to speak to King Agrippa. That's coming up in part 2, so stick around. Okay, so we're back, and we've got this fascinating situation with King Agrippa now wanting to hear Paul's case for himself.
It's like a whole new level of intrigue, right?
It is. Like, what's going through Festus's mind? Is he relieved? Is he nervous?
Probably a bit of both.
I mean, he's essentially handing over the reins to Agrippa, you know.
Well, not entirely. He
No.
still wants to be involved.
Okay, how so?
He lays out the whole situation for Agrippa,
Yeah.
Emphasizes the pressure from those Jewish leaders.
Yeah, that seems to be a recurring theme.
It is. And he
Yeah.
makes sure to point out the lack of, concrete evidence against Paul.
Like he's saying, see, I'm not making this up.
Exactly. Almost like he's seeking validation from Agrippa.
Right, like am I crazy for being so perplexed by this whole thing?
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine sending someone to Caesar without clear accusations?
It's got to be unprecedented.
It's definitely not a good look.
So Agrippa's role here is more than just observer. though.
Yeah, much more.
Like what's his actual role in this?
Festus actually tells Agrippa, examine him yourself.
Oh, wow. So he's actively involved in the process?
Absolutely. It's like, you're familiar with Jewish law. Help me figure this out.
Okay, so this is huge. Paul gets his chance to speak, but this isn't just another trial.
No, it's an audience with a king.
And Paul, does he seize the opportunity?
Oh, he does. He delivers this powerful testimony, tells his whole story.
So he's not just focusing on legal arguments.
No, he goes deeper, talks about his conversion, his call to preach the gospel.
Wow. So it's personal, it's passionate.
It is. And he weaves in Jewish scripture, his personal experiences.
This must have been quite a change of pace for Festus.
Oh, for sure.
Like Roman court proceedings, they're probably all about logic and order.
Very structured, very procedural.
And here comes Paul with this like fiery spiritual testimony.
Right. And the reactions are telling,
Oh yeah. What happens?
Festus, he's totally thrown off. He can't handle it. He even interrupts Paul at one point.
Oh no, what does he say?
He's like, Paul, you're out of your mind. All this studying has made you crazy.
Wow, that's harsh.
It is. But it shows you how foreign this all was to him.
He can't wrap his head around Paul's conviction, his faith.
It just doesn't compute.
So two totally different worldviews clashing.
Right. Roman pragmatism versus this unshakable faith in a resurrected savior.
Yeah, it's a powerful contrast.
It is. Now, Agrippa, he's different.
Okay, how so?
He's listening intently.
So he's taking it seriously.
He is. Doesn't dismiss Paul as some, fanatic.
Interesting. So what's his verdict?
Well, after hearing Paul's defense, he turns to Festus and says something remarkable.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
He says, this man could have been set free if he hadn't appealed to Caesar.
Whoa. What does that even mean?
And he's huge. He's basically saying, I think he's innocent.
So both Festus and Agrippa believe Paul is innocent.
That's how it seems.
But he's still going to Rome.
Exactly. Because of his appeal.
That's like the ultimate irony.
It is. He appealed to Caesar to secure his safety and get a fair trial.
And it backfired.
In a way, yes.
It makes you think, if Paul knew this would happen,
Right.
would he still have made that appeal?
That's a fascinating question, and it's one we'll pick up on in the next part.
Because there's so much more to unpack here, so much to ponder.
Oh, yeah. Stay tuned, because we're just getting started.
So here's Paul facing this uncertain future, right headed to Rome as a prisoner.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem defeated, does he?
He really doesn't. It's like this whole ordeal,
Yeah.
he sees it as just another step in his journey.
You know, it's that perspective, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's viewing everything through the lens of his faith.
Yeah. So for him, this trip to Rome,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a failure.
It's an opportunity. I mean, just think about it.
Yeah.
He's going to the heart of the empire.
Right. To Rome.
Yeah.
Talk about a platform.
I mean, it makes you think about our own lives, right?
Oh, absolutely.
How do we view those challenges, those unexpected turns? Yeah, do we let them stop us?
Yeah. Or do we see them
As detours.
as detours? Yeah. Maybe leading to something even greater.
That's the thing with Paul, his unwavering faith,
Mhm.
even when things look bleak,
Yeah. He's looking for that opportunity.
always looking ahead.
So as we wrap up,
Yeah.
any final takeaways from Paul's appeal to Caesar? What can we learn from all of this?
Well, I think one thing that really stands out
Yeah.
is how this story highlights the tension between different systems of power.
Okay, yeah, like Roman law, Jewish customs.
Right, and then you've got early Christian beliefs all kind of, interacting.
Them clashing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a smooth process, the spread of Christianity.
Definitely not.
And it reminds us it didn't happen in a vacuum.
Right, it was all intertwined with the political and social realities of the time.
Exactly. It's all about context, right?
It is. You can't just look at these events in isolation.
Nope, you got to consider all those broader forces.
The bigger picture.
It all matters.
Okay, so context is key. Anything else?
I think it's also important to recognize the power of individual agency.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Well, even though Paul was a prisoner,
Yeah.
he still actively shaped his circumstances.
Oh, right. He used his knowledge of Roman law.
Exactly. He knew his rights. He defended his beliefs.
He didn't just passively accept his fate.
No, he took charge. And it reminds us,
Yeah.
we all have rights, and we should know them.
Legal rights, human rights.
All of them. And we should be willing to stand up for what's right.
Even when it's hard.
Even when it's risky.
Like Paul appealing to Caesar.
Exactly. It might not have worked out the way he planned,
Mm-mm.
but it showed his courage, his commitment to his mission. He challenged authority. He appealed to a higher power.
And that's a powerful lesson for us today, isn't it?
It is. I mean, are we willing to do the same?
To stand up for what we believe in, even when it's unpopular.
It's a question worth asking ourselves.
Definitely.
Yeah.
As we navigate our own world.
Yeah, with all its complexities.
Paul's story is a great example of courage, of conviction.
Of trusting in something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, that even in uncertainty, there might be a greater purpose unfolding.
It's a thought-provoking idea.
It is. And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into Acts 25.
Thanks for joining us.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and until next time, keep diving deep.
Also, please like and subscribe to AI.DivineInsights for daily podcast episodes.
See you next time.